The views and opinion expressed in this podcast are those of the host and guests and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of M.A.P.S Media or its affiliates. This content is provided for informational and entertainment purposes only and should not be construed as professional advice, political endorsements, or the official stance of any organization mentioned. Basically, we talk shit. You listen, and M.A.P.S Media stays drama-free. And this podcast is not for children, because we cuss. Let's get it.
Yo, it's time to rise, make your choice, we vote to amplify your voice. We vote to breaking through, every voice matters, yes, you. We vote.
What if I told you the algorithm raised your little cousin, and he thinks feminism caused inflation? Well, let's pull back the curtains on politics, culture, and why your coworker just called Kamala Harris a DEI hire like it's a slur. What am I talking about? Red pill content. Yeah, that manosphere, alpha male, women are the problem stuff has become a political pipeline, especially for white Gen Z males who in 2024 voted for Donald Trump at higher rates than in 2020. Now, how did that happen? When did Gen Z, who is supposed to be the most progressive generation, become so backwards? 2 words: YouTube autoplay. This red pill rabbit hole starts with gym videos and ends with maybe women shouldn't vote.
UK, and I want to put it to you that you don't really care about the harm it causes because
that's not true.
Making controversial statements like this online has made you a lot of money.
Okay, so first thing, I genuinely am a force for good in the world. You may not understand that yet, but you will eventually. And I genuinely believe I'm acting under the instruction of God to do good things, and I want to make the world a better place. For money, I could have sold drugs, or I could make rap music and encourage everyone to stab each other like all the drill artists do.
Or you could make controversial statements online that attract a lot of followers who you then direct to your website where they pay to learn how to be like you.
I mean, I could make...
But here's the twist. Misogyny is rarely alone. It's holding hands with racism, homophobia, and authoritarianism, skipping down the timeline like it's a prom date. Because when young men are taught that equality is the enemy, they start seeing every civil right, women's rights, trans rights, black lives as a threat to their power, not an expansion of justice. Yeah, that's the vibe. It's funny until it isn't, because that bro logic is showing up at the ballot box, and it's hurting women, LGBTQ plus folks, and communities of color all at once. How is red pill politics shaping the male vote? What it means for 2028? And why dismantling misogyny is central to saving democracy? Because we vote too. Welcome to another episode of We Vote Too, where politics meets culture and we say the quiet parts out loud. But today we're going to be doing something slightly different because it intersects. When popular culture and politics intersect, we got to talk about it. So today we're going to be talking about the rabbit holes of the red pill, alpha male YouTubers, and the subtle, not so subtle ways that misogyny is creeping its way into modern politics. And joining us today, Miss Nerra Muhammad is a writer, an artist, and founder of I Call Her Queen, LLC, where paintbrush meets poetry and self-expression becomes resistance. She also is the voice behind Queen Talks with Nerra, a podcast that unpacks everything from friendship and femininity and healing and hard truths. She's also a filmmaker. So today I am so happy to have her here to break down toxic well, maybe not happy because we shouldn't have it at all, but you get the point. Welcome to We Vote Too. How are you doing? It's been a minute since the two of us have actually spoken.
It has. I'm so excited to be here. How are you?
I'm doing well. I mean, given the circumstances, because there's a lot of stuff happening in the world and in life. But let's talk about it, because I don't know if you've seen, and I am embarrassed to even say this out loud, but at one point I was a huge fan of like the Joe Budden podcast when it was a music podcast back in the days. And it has since morphed into something else, which is my fault because I saw the like it's not like I didn't see the signs. And I want to talk about the red pillification of men because we're starting to see more and more and more men, I would say, hating women. That's where misogyny comes in. How do you think we got here? What do you think it started? I mean, you know what I mean? It's gotten worse. Misogyny has always
It's so
existed.
funny because I just had this conversation with LaDawn Black. And if any of you guys are from like the DMV area, you probably grew up listening to LaDawn Black on 92Q on the Love Zone with her show, The Love Zone. And we were just talking about how the microphone, so many people have access to the microphone in these larger platforms. And so, to be honest, I don't know if these men necessarily believe the rhetoric that they are spewing out or if they do it for clickbait. If they're doing it because it's getting them the views, it's getting them the likes, it's getting people talking. And honestly, that's what I'm hoping that is the case. That they're saying these things because it's getting and garnering all of this attention. Whether they are doing it for that reason or not, it's still wrong. But unfortunately, it's getting the likes, it's getting the views, and it's putting money in their pockets. And so, like you said, viewers are part of the problem. Even if it's a situation where you're commenting, say Cam Newton says something crazy, which he's going to do, and you're going on there and you're commenting. Every time you comment, you are putting money into this man's pocket. So instead of us commenting, even if you're disagreeing, you got to report it. So instead of it's like we're feeding the beast. We're constantly feeding on this type of negativity, and that's where like some of the problem lies. We're watching it. Kevin Samuels had a platform because people listened.
That's true. And that's what I was going to ask you. It was like, are we part of the problem? Because we're trying to, because somebody had this conversation. I was just watching a video about this on TikTok where there was a black man. Unfortunately, it seems like there's a pipeline of black men trying to jump into like white male patriarchy. And for whatever reason, they think they're going to let them in the front door. And I'm like, trust me, they not letting you in. Like, you're just not getting in there. However, the conversation was whether or not we should try to stop this stuff from happening. Meaning, if you see the bullshit, say something like, hey, no, this is inaccurate information. That's not true, especially when they were going at Meg. So it was about the Tory and Meg Thee Stallion situation. Should we not be commenting to be like, hey, that's not true? Or should we just ignore it?
Don't even ignore it. Report it. I am getting to the point now where when I see extremely incorrect information, even if it does nothing, if more and more of us are reporting this as harmful, as hate speech, as false information, that is going to do more than us commenting on it. Again, us commenting on it is a good thing. You know, they say like, there's no such thing as bad press. You know, like there are a lot of people that feel that way. I've had women tell me that when I've commented on even a woman's post where I'm like, sis, like this is harmful. And she's like, I don't care. You're here commenting though. I'm still going to get paid regardless. And I'm like, oh, damn. Oh, damn. She kind of got me there. You know what I mean? It's like, every time we engage with this content, we give it room to grow. We are feeding a virus and it's just going to keep growing and growing.
But I want to kind of ask, because there's a lot of women that are also falling victim to this pipeline. They call them pick-me's. Is that a real thing? Is it really a pick-me? Is that really what that is?
I question recently as well. I was told by TikTok, this is one of my few viral posts on TikTok, and they said pick-me's are the women who are not leading with like self-confidence. They aren't thinking for themselves. They're literally just going along to get along. And it's like I just unfriended someone I was friends with on social media because she is just like super in love with Trey Songz. And I feel like for you to be that big of a fan of Trey Songz, you have to know a little bit about the history of Trey Songz and him having to pay out $25 million to two victims of rape that he date raped and gave them a date rape drug and rape in DC, I believe. And so for me, it's like, it's very hard for me to respect women that are still like, well, I don't care. I'm going to listen to R. Kelly regardless. For me, that says that you don't have any boundaries. That says that you don't respect or care about what has happened to other women. And you don't have any care for their situation. And that's someone who's been raped more than once. That's basically saying, well, as long as they're talented, as long as they can run a football, as long as they can make music, I don't care if they're rapists. I'm not okay with that. I'm not. Or even Chris Brown, as long as he's fine and can dance, he can do whatever. He can beat me. I've seen women literally say that he can beat me.
Have you?
He can beat you because he look good. Girl, bye. That's insanity. That's insanity.
Yeah, I've not heard. I'm glad I have not heard that,
online where women are like, I don't care. He can beat me. What?
That's insane. So just to be in the room, just to make sure that you are protecting Black men, and I want to, because this goes beyond Black men, it also is men, but because we are two Black women, Black men are in our. I love Black men, so I'm not talking about you because I don't love you. I'm talking about because I do love you. Okay, so I want to talk about this a little bit, and you're a mother of a son. I want to talk a little bit about the impact of that, because I know what we often see is that a lot of times toxic men come from something the mother did. It's the mother. The mother did it. We say the boy moms are toxic, but what I never hear is, what about the dads? Is it that the dads are absent? Like, why is it that even in that conversation, the women in the mix are often seen as the problem? They've done something wrong. I'm not saying I've seen some really weird boy mom actions. I'm not defending it. Not all boy moms, but it's a few that I'm like, y'all need to take, I don't know, y'all need some therapy because there's something going on that is not great.
I would even go as far to say the football player who, Jaden Daniels, I believe his name is, mom is like a hoverboard mom. I think it's gross. And like you said, I do have a son, but my son is going to one day grow up and be a man. And the way that, for one, the way that I view parenthood as someone who studied family and consumer science, and I've had to take parenting courses and family relations and all those things. That was my major in college. My job, my gift that God gave me personally is to raise these children up as best as I can so that I can send them out into the world a better human being, someone who makes the world better, someone who can contribute all of the gifts and talents that they have been given to the world. My son is not my man. I am not in love with my son. I don't fetishize being a mom to a boy. I have a job. I have a job to teach him how to treat women. I have a job to teach him what the expectations of a man and a boy is. From even now, my son knows he needs to open up that door for me and his sister. He knows you're going to take out that trash. Teaching him very, very early to protect his sister, to make sure that he's protecting his mother. But there is a fine line between Black mamas can take it a little bit too far. I've seen some cases where they take it a little bit too far, and it's like, take the titty out.
Is it the intersectionality though? Because Black men, we often see them, they get treated worse in the criminal justice system. We see that they are less educated, especially when compared to Black women. Black women, we are outpacing everybody. Like, we outpacing everybody, but they feel like they're not adequate counterparts to us because Black women continue to excel. Like, that intersectionality makes women, I would say particularly Black women, want to protect Black men more, even at the cost of Black women. How do we combat that?
Yeah, it's like, to be honest, like, you gotta, first of all, even if dad is not in the picture, you need to find mentors, whether it's in the mosque, whether it's on, his little league coach, your brother, your uncle. You do need to find a good male, because I think that men teaching boys is a different aspect. But I do believe that women can teach boys how to love, like, I believe that a father can teach his daughter how to love and what the expectations should be. I don't believe that, Minister Farrakhan, just to use him as an example, was raised by a woman. And you've never heard of this man beating on women. In fact, he's always teaching men that, you need to respect those queens, and so I do believe that men can be raised by women. But then there's the Kanye West effect where it's like, maybe his mother coddled him a bit too much. She never told him that he was wrong. I don't coddle my children. I don't know if it's just my personality, the Virgo in me, but I don't coddle. I'm very honest. I'm very loving. I can be nurturing, but I will not baby you. And I think that is, when he does certain things, I'm like, don't say you're sorry. I don't want to hear sorry. I want change behavior. I teach him that. I don't give him the outs to be like, oh, no, it's not okay. It wasn't okay for you to push your sister. It wasn't okay for you to say that to her. And I'm not going to back down from that. Because if he doesn't learn that from me, he's going to think that it's okay. And also just setting the examples of the kind of men that I bring around my children. If I allow a man to abuse me, to talk down to me in front of my son and my daughter, then I am teaching them that is okay. So a lot of it starts within you as the parent.
I agree. I agree that it definitely starts at home, and it starts with the people that are around you, including the men around. So if y'all are seeing this very bad behavior, it is up to you to say, hey, that's not cool. Don't do that. Because right now we are seeing a male loneliness epidemic. Do you agree that women don't want men anymore? Is that what's happening?
No, I literally just read a woman say on Threads this morning, because, that's the new think tank now that we're kind of like off of Twitter X because of, and I just saw a woman in DC and she's like, what is up with the men in DC? Why is it that when you go out now, men do not approach us as women anymore? I still kind of believe that women are getting done up. I do believe that we do go out to be with our girls, especially those of us, those that are in relationships. But oftentimes, millennials especially are like, you know what? I'm tired of the dating apps. I want something genuine. I want something organic. I want to meet somebody in public. I want somebody to walk up to me like it's a movie and touch my hand. And, we lock eyes across the bar. Like, I do believe that women are still hopeless romantics at heart, and we want those things. And so women are looking good. They're going out with their girls, and they're just hoping in the back of their mind that they just meet at least one guy that sparks their interest. And they're like, damn, where the fellas at? They sipping drinks on the sideline, hoping that somebody comes and walks up to them. So I'm seeing this pandemic where women are like, yo, why are men expecting us to court them? Like, what's up with that? So fellas, the ladies are wanting to be courted. They want you to talk to them. They want to feel like you want them, but don't make it just like, damn, shorty, your ass fat. Like, whoa. Like, there is a way to approach a woman. Yes, you can compliment looks, but you can't just freeze it just there. And I think that's what a lot of men are doing. And it's like, never mind, I'm good. Don't talk to me.
So men are saying that women don't want traditional roles. And in speaking of women wanting men to approach them, would be a tradition. That's a traditional way or traditional roles. So are they making this up that women don't want traditional roles, or is it that now women don't have to be a paid slave?
You have different types of women. I have women right now I see that are like, I just want a man that's going to take care of me and pay my bills. She doesn't talk about whether or not she wants to like the guy. She's just like, if you ain't paying my bills, we have nothing to talk about. And then you have the women that are like, look, I have my master's degree. I own my own home, baby. I have my own money. I just want you to show up and love me, talk to me, travel with me. And then you have the woman that's kind of in between. It's like, look, I got my own. You can have your own, but still make me feel wanted and make me feel loved. But I think that a lot of women just really want respect. They want to feel like they're not just being used for their body. And so I think that women have felt like they've been used for their body for so long that now they're kind of like, you know what? F this. I think I do want money. That's kind of where I'm at. Look, I've been a ride or die chick. I've been a one to like buy you gifts and send you a cash app for lunch money just to call myself trying to teach you how to treat me. And then when it wasn't getting reciprocated back, I was like, well, damn, I feel kind of dumb. Maybe I shouldn't do that anymore.
Right.
So you have the women that are out here that are like, man, I would love to spoil my man and I want my man to spoil me, but I'm not going to keep doing that for these Negroes who are going to ghost me, or after 4 months of dating, now they're like, oh, I don't want a relationship. I've seen a lot of women saying that. They're like, you wasted my time. You pretended to want all the things that I wanted. And the moment I was like, okay, at least start putting some demands on this guy, now it's, oh, I'm not ready for a relationship. And so that's been a big issue that I've been seeing a lot of people talk about.
Do you think that men actually like women? Because this is a conversation I've had a couple of different times with people. Do they like women, or do they want to use women?
I hate to say this because I say this, but sometimes I think the only thing that keeps men messing with women is because they do not want to be labeled as gay. If you are getting all of your that intimacy from your homeboys, and you only relegating or delegating a woman to just sex, I think that's something you got to ask yourself, player. Like, what's going on? What's really going on there? You know, if you can only go out with your friends, you only take trips with your homeboys, and the only time you want to deal with a woman is when you want to be intimate, I think you need to ask yourself some serious questions about your own sexuality. I do. I think men are jealous of us. Like, let's keep it real. I think that a lot of men are jealous of us. They cannot handle a strong woman. I had a guy tell me, I don't care if you went to college. I don't care if you're an educator. I don't care about none of that. Well, why would you not? Those are the things that make me who I am.
Wow.
You just want me to be a vagina. You want me to not have any opinions or thoughts. I'm just a vagina. Can I cook?
That's I agree.
The groceries.
I agree. You are just used for sex until they need money. What do you bring to the table? I was like, you bring into the table, but never mind.
Like, sir, I don't cut tables. I have built a table before. I cut the wood. I did drove the holes. Like, don't ask me what I bring to the table because I will build the motherfucking table and put your ass on.
Right. Because I'm like, if we're bringing it and building the table, I'm like, what's the point?
And I gotta put the food on it too that I prepared. And you just think you're gonna come in here and put your feet up. I don't disagree with 50-50 100% because I do believe that in relationships, if the woman is making more money than her boyfriend, say she's making 150K and he's making 78, I don't feel like, oh, he should have to pay all the bills and you're just like, oh, I just pay for vacations. Like, come on, like, let's be real. That's a little bit unfair. I think that it varies relationship to relationship, household to household. If by all means the man can make all of the money and you stay at home, you got to be prepared for what that's going to look like. Because I've seen way too many situations where women are allowing the man to be the 100% breadwinner. And then what happens when he steps out? Or what happens when you're not treated as an equal in decision making? And he's like, but I'm the breadwinner. How do you respond to that?
Facts. And that's what like a lot of them, like, I want what my grandparents had. And I was like, what I think you don't realize is that grandma couldn't leave. She stayed and put up with that. And she did all those things because she couldn't just like up and leave. So it wasn't as clear cut as you want to make it seem.
My grandmother divorced my pop the year that I was born. And for something about that is so symbolic to me. You know, she was a phlebotomist and he was making good money, but he got addicted to drugs and gambling and horse. He loved the horse,
racing.
Okay, yeah. He loved to gamble his money on that. And then it was the women and then it was cocaine. This was back in like the 70s, 80s when drugs like really, really hit the street and he became abusive. And, that was unheard of back in 89 to just like up and leave your husband like that. They had 3 children that they raised. They owned their home in Woodlawn. And she was like, I can't do this anymore. And she got up and left. And I commend her for that on so many different levels because so many women, like you said back then, they were not happy. They didn't go on vacations. You know what I mean? They didn't have a soft life. They were like slaves. Their men disrespected them. Their men came home drunk. Their men came home on drugs. You know what I mean? Like, and I'm not saying that's all the situation. There were some beautiful marriages back then, but let's commend women for being able to say, you know what? I do deserve better than this. I don't have to stay where I'm unhappy. And men are upset about us leaving because we're unhappy.
Yeah, that's not fair. And I also want to talk about what is feminism or what is a feminist, because you hear a lot of men blaming a lot of women getting and gaining that independence and wanting to get educated and saying, hey, you know what? I don't need to put up with this. Like, I can go get my own apartment, not getting married or choosing not to get married, because that was a whole thing for a long time, particularly with women of color, Black women in particular, that they didn't get married. Now, a lot of Black women are saying, I don't want to be married. Like, I just want to be by myself. So explain to me or explain to us what a feminist or your version of what you believe that a feminist is.
I think that people overthink feminism. Feminism is simply saying, I want the equal rights and opportunities as a man. It is that simple. And people are trying to overcomplicate it. I actually just watched a documentary about the beginnings of feminism. It was so good. I can't remember the name of it, but damn, it was so good. And these were women. It started with a lot of white women who were like, you know what? I'm smarter than you, bro. I want to work. I want to be a math teacher. I want to be a mathematician. I want to work on airplanes. A lot of it came from, we weren't even really allowed into the workforce as women in America until, World War II, because our men were all shipped off into World War II and we were needed to run these factories and build planes and build these parts. And we were like, you know what? we're getting it done faster. If you watch Tyler Perry's new movie, the six triple eight, is that how I said it? I don't know if I got it wrong.
Yep.
And it took Black women to build up morale in during World War II, because our soldiers hadn't talked to their friends, their family. They hadn't talked to the women that they were in love with for 3 years. It took Black women to come along and make that happen. So for you to say that women aren't needed in the workforce, that's insane. I have black women who did my surgeries and did it flawlessly. So you can't say that women aren't needed in the workforce. Femininity just says, I want a chance to learn. I want a chance to have my own bank account in my own name. There was a time where women couldn't even have a bank account in their name. They couldn't get a credit card without a husband. They couldn't own property. So why should we not be allowed to do those things? Why must I, as a woman, be relegated to living at home and just taking care of kids? I don't think that God gave me any of the talents and abilities that he gave me for me to simply say, all I want to do is take care of a man and have him pay the bills and take care of the kids. I don't even want to homeschool my kids. And I was a teacher for over 10 years. Like, hell no. Go to school, get out of my face. I need my me time. I would rather go work than teach my own kids. But that's just me personally. And as women, we're simply saying we want the opportunity to have the choice. Does that mean every woman is going to want to go into the workforce? No, but I damn sure deserve the right.
It's the same thing with abortion rights. We should have the right to choose.
Exactly.
Women carry the baby.
Men aren't needed. It's somebody saying, bro, I want to work too.
Facts.
We had to fight for care. That was denied by Nixon when we first tried to get it. You know, like we had to, was it Nixon or Reagan? One of the two. But we had to fight for childcare, for the ability to even work. You know, it's like, it's so much incorrect information that's always floating around. And I think it does a disservice to the women that have marched and fought for a right to sit at the table, to be CEOs, to be pilots, to be doctors. We were not just caregivers. And that's a disrespect to us to say. I mean, if you're even talking about food, the highest paid chefs in the world are actually men. So we can't even get paid the most in the industry where you say that we're supposed to be.
Right. Facts. And I think this played a huge role in the downfall. Besides racism, the next thing that actually caused Kamala Harris to lose is the fact that she was a woman. When you look at the demographics of who voted for Trump, the majority of the men voted for Trump. And then there was a huge, well, I'm not going to say huge, actually it was a small swing, because shout out to Black men for standing 10 toes down and voting for Kamala Harris. So a lot of these numbers, we're really talking about white men, actually.
Yeah, and white women. White women voted more for Trump, actually, than they did Kamala as well, which I was, shocked by. Because I'm like, white women are the ones that put up with the patriarchal system more than I think. I think, to be honest, white women are more impacted by it than Black women. I think Black men are more progressive than white men. That's just my opinion.
I agree. And I think it's because they can see.
White guys, and they were very rude and felt like their opinions were so important, and anything that I said was just stupid. And I was just like, hell no, I'm not dating a white man. They live and breathe misogyny. It's like they don't even notice that they're being misogynistic, because they just feel like when they walk into the room, their word is law and God. And it's like, you genuinely believe that. You're not even trying. It's just who you are by nature. Never again.
Yeah, it's because society, we tell that white men that they are enough no matter what. It is they are proven competent as soon as they step in the door. Whereas a Black woman, we are seen as incompetent until proven otherwise. And white men do not have to do that. And I think that although a lot of men of color voted for Kamala Harris, Trump did get a significant swing, or I'm not even gonna say significant. He got a swing of Black male voters that started to vote for him, because it's like, I can't vote for a woman. I can't vote for a woman.
Yeah. And you who was old Team Trump, and
yeah. It was a lot. It was a lot of a lot of of those rapper celebrity types that came out in support of Trump, especially when we saw his inauguration dinner, whether they voted for him or whether they just got a check and they said, hey, I'm going to go over here. It still was like, really, Snoop?
And I don't know.
Just a couple years ago, you was talking about how terrible he was. And okay. All right.
Snoop, I've been said it though before he came out. I said Snoop was one of those people that would do anything for a check. I was like, I am so tired of seeing Snoop everywhere. They act like he is the only black man that can be on a commercial, do the music NFL. I was like, why is Snoop performing like he is some new rapper? Like, like get somebody more recent and relevant. Like, I'm so,
because he makes white people feel like all of their stereotypes about black people are true, and they can do it in a very safe way.
I was gonna say, when you mentioned earlier about them gatekeeping and not letting some black men a seat at the table, they will let some, and they will say, "See, I'm not racist. I got a black man right here," or "See, black men agree too." They use them as like the token Negro man. So a few of them are going to get a seat at that table because they need you, because you validate their point of view, and that's it. You're just validation. So it's like, go ahead and be used. Go be a puppet if you want to be a puppet.
And unfortunately, in white male patriarchy, they will let you in the room. They're not going to let you sit at the table. So they want you to be seen. Yeah.
You're not. You are here to observe and report.
Right. Do not speak unless spoken to. You are not.
Unless we vote for a specific reason, because you're feeding our beast. That's it. And that's why it's only going to be about 3 of them in there.
And is there a way that we can, I know you said, like, if we're seeing it online, don't engage, because you're right. Engagement means they're going to make money off of it regardless. However, is there a way for us to try to make this better? Is there a way for us to navigate through patriarchy, even if it's not online? Like, maybe it's us having these conversations offline.
Yeah.
I don't even know if you really want to talk to one of these red pill men, because like I feel like it's going to spiral in a place, and a lot of them tend to not be the most safe people to deal with. So is there a way for us to try to break through, or is it just at this point a lost cause and we just got to save the ones we have?
I feel like we have to just counter everything that they say with our own, like, for instance, I'm literally working on a documentary right now called Love and the Gender War, where I'm literally talking about these exact topics, where we're trying to understand the gender normalcies or expectations between men and women, and this war between men and women, because it constantly feels like we really are at war. Whether we're pointing the blame for the economy, or whether we're pointing the blame for, quote unquote broken homes, or whatever the case may be, women are blaming men are blaming women. And at some point we have to say, you know what? We got to stop pointing blame. You are to blame, I'm to blame. Then what can we do to fix it? So it's really just about taking accountability, retraining our young boys and our young men. I love that Faraji actually just posted on his Facebook. He was like, my son is not a YN, and neither are any of these other black boys. We have to start changing our language. We have to start having these conversations, and we have to start promoting and commenting on these types of things more than we're commenting on the negative, because the negative is always going to get pushed to the top if it's getting more clicks and views, always. So we got to counter it.
I want to ask you, because I know we coming up, but do you think we'll ever have a female president? Is this something, as we saw Hillary get right there and then she fell off? We saw Kamala Harris, all this momentum. We don't know. I don't know. With all the shady dealings that's happening, who knows if she really lost? I don't know.
Joe Biden was the right savior, and that he was the only person that could beat Trump. And so you gave that woman 3 months to campaign, when most people have at least a good 2 years to campaign. So that just goes to show you again what happens when the white patriarchal society says, no, I'm the only one that can do it. And then you realize, oh no, I can't do it. I'm too damn old to do it. I'm sick. So now I got to hurry up and try to scramble. She was more qualified than Trump, and we know that. But then we have had Trump come out of his mouth and say twice, oh, we rigged the election. So you don't know what to believe at this point. Did you rig the election?
Right.
You don't even check into that, because you've said it you've said it yourself. More than once, Trump has said this, and no one pays it any attention. But let Joe Biden have said something like that. Mm-hmm. Or Obama have said something like that. That shit would have been investigated so deep and so heavy, it would have been insane. Trump says it, no one does a thing.
Right. Which is insane.
I don't understand, but I do think we will have a woman president one day. We're way behind Britain, because they had a female prime minister decades ago. So we're really behind the mark, where we think we're so progressive, and we're way behind.
What do you think what would it take for us to have? Because I don't know if I see it within the next, because I think the next person that's going to get elected, I'm pretty strong if we still have elections that work, if we're not at Trump's coronation. I believe that the next person will be a Democrat. However, I think it will be a white man, because I think that that's what the DNC is pushing. I think that's where they're trying to go, because they don't want to risk it on yet another woman. What do you think, or who do you think that woman? Because a black woman, I hope to see it, but I'm just, maybe this is me just being very pessimistic after the disappointment I had about the election of 2024, because I knew Kamala Harris was going to win. And I was election night reporting, and as it was happening, I was like, it's not going to happen. And the depression, the anger set in.
I feel like the moment the reporting started, Trump already had this huge lead that personally I had never seen before. Showing my own age, I was 18 years old when Obama ran the first time in 2008. So that was my first time getting to vote, which was iconic. Like my very first time voting, I got to vote for Obama. But I always felt like we had an election. I always felt like you had these debates where you had a bunch of people. I don't feel like we've had a real election since 2016. I think that after 2016, once 2020 came, it felt like there was only Biden and Trump, and we weren't even really given any other options at all. It was Trump versus Biden, and that was really it. 2016, I remember seeing all of these people from Pete Buttigieg and Kamala, and we had Andrew King, I believe his name was, and we just had it was a plethora of races and women and men who were running. And then 2020 came, and it was like Biden or Trump, and I was like, where are the rest of the options? We weren't given any options. And so I don't know what's going to come in the future, but I am very much so hoping that we have a real election and we have actual options to choose from. And it's not like one versus the other. There was really no primary.
Yeah. And I think that going forward, I think you're right. I think we do need to call out the stuff that we're seeing. And this is us speaking to men. We need you to call out the stuff that you're seeing, because we cannot combat this. It's sort of the same thing when we say to white people that if you are seeing racism, you need to say or speak up. We need your voices in order to help men. If you got a homeboy and you see that he just plays video games, he don't have a lot of connections, he's not been on a date in about 3, 4, 5, 6 years, and he's getting real aggressive to women, I need you to have a conversation with him. Take him out for ice cream or something, because we need to make sure we are breaking this down so that this does not seep, because a lot of people think this is a popular culture thing. The whole Meg versus Tory situation is a popular culture thing. And I was like, no, because if you look at the people who support Tory Lanez in that situation, those are the same people that will also support Trump and all of these types of bans, and making sure that now if you change your name, it's possible that women that are married will have a harder time to vote. These are the types of things that are happening if we don't stop it. So men, listen to me. If you see it, I need you to speak up and say something. I really do. And I know you said you have a documentary. Before we go, I want you to tell us about the documentary. How can we support it? How can we watch it or view it? Or when is it coming out?
So it won't be out until December. So I'm working really, really hard on it. It's a 5-part docuseries called Love and the Gender War, where we're discussing all of the things that we've pretty much been talking about here. Gender relationships, love in general, because I felt like love is missing in our world, in our culture right now. And I think that, and I was really inspired by Bell Hooks' book, All About Love, because she talked about love from so many different point of views, from spirituality, community, the way that we're raised as children, our interpersonal relationships. And so it's a docuseries where you're kind of following me on this journey to discover love and my own understanding of love. But it's just really, I got to talk to so many different people, women from Egypt, and, older women to the babies, and, men, women, white men, gay men. I was able to talk to so many different people about their view of love and try to really come up with this working definition of love, and just really sharing just really interpersonal things too. Because I wanted it to feel like something that we could all connect to and feel like we could be a part of. And so it'll be dropping in December. Fingers all crossed, everything goes well. Right now I am crowdfunding because it's been an extremely long process, and it takes a lot of time and a lot of hands to make that happen. So if you are available to crowdfund and support, please do so. You can follow me on my Instagram. The links are all there. Nerra_the_queen, or I call her queen. Either one, you can crowdfund there. And that's just me trying to make sure that it comes out and it's edited well, and that, it's really just a beautiful story and something that really can impact all of us. Because like we said, these gender issues go far beyond just male-female relationships. These are impacting laws and the way that we interact with each other on a day-to-day basis. And so we gotta get back to love being the center of really everything.
Facts. Like, I wish we loved each other more. Like, or at least liked each other more. Like, we don't have to be in love all the time.
In the most simplest, purest forms. I was literally just at the gas station Thursday, and I'm just patiently waiting for, the gas pump to free up. And these two men literally got back in their cars and sat there. And I'm waiting patiently. Like, I got to get the kids to school. I got to get to work. They just sit there. So I lightly honk my horn. This white guy gets out of his car. Did you honk your horn at me? I was like, yes, sir. I'm just waiting for the gas pump. He cusses me out in front of my kids. I'm a stupid bitch. I'm all these things. He came up to my car window, and I'm like, what? I get out of my car, and I'm like, if you're going to come up to my car window, you better be prepared to do something. I'm right here. I'm right here, sir. And he's like, you wish I would hit you. I said, yes, I do, because I got time today. But it was just like, that would have been totally a different situation if he'd have said, you know what? I see this woman is patiently waiting. Let me move my car because I'm done pumping my gas. Just a little bit of love for a person in the community could change the projection of a whole incident. It's that simple. It really is that simple.
And you don't know what people are going through or what people had in their car. So I agree with you 1,000%. Like, we need more love, or at least like I said, we don't have to be in love with each other all the time, but at least respect.
But that's the part where we don't understand love, because we think in our mind that love, when we think of love, we think it has to be this deep, intimate connection. No, Jesus, I'm not a Christian, but if you are a Christian and you believe in the Bible, Jesus said to love thy neighbor. He didn't say be in love with your neighbor. He said love them. When we talk about, what was that story in the Bible with like the 3 wise men, and just that's the Good Samaritan. Being a Good Samaritan, that stems from love of people, love of humanity, love of animals, love of this earth that we are blessed to be on. Like, it doesn't have to go any deeper than that. We overthink things, and that's part of the problem. It's like, some things can be simplified, and that's okay.
And again, this has been another episode of We Vote Too. And I want to say this again, men and women alike, women who are raising men, if you are seeing this behavior, we just need you to say something. We just need you to nip it in the bud. That's all. That's all we need. That's all we need. But I want to thank you so much for coming to We Vote Too podcast. Yes, this was more of a cultural thing, but it all intersects, and we brought it all full circle in the end. Again, if you want to support Nerra, make sure you go to her website. Make sure you support our documentary, because we need films like this so that we can show what's going on and how misogyny is impacting relationships and life as a whole. So thank you again, and we will be back for another episode of We Vote Too.